Mike Yadik Show. Chupa 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 best show on the planet. Chupa chupa Mike Yadik Show. Chupa 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 best show on the planet. Chupa chupa bow wow wow bow wow. And now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome your host for this podcast, Mr. Mike. Yeah, hey, woo, hey, we love you, Mike. And hey, bam, episode 18. How you doing, bro? I hope that you're having a great week. I hope that you're staying sane and you're being healthy and you're being happy. And in today's episode, I have a very special edition of the Mike Yannick Show because what I decided to do a few days ago, I come up with the idea. I am going to do because I do stand-up comedy. I mean, not now because of the quarantine and stuff, but what I decided to do, I'm gonna share some of the worst comedy gigs I've ever had, the experiences, and I think it's gonna be very interesting. If you're a comedian, you know how the quote-unquote back office, how it works. And if you're not a comedian, I think this will be very interesting for you, just so you can see the life of a like a up and coming comedian, and you can see the struggles and the what's the other word, whatever the fuck we go through. And it's a lot of fun after the thing finishes and maybe like a few days have passed. Then when you look back at it, it's really fun, especially when you talk with other comedians and you compare stories about the time you've really died on stage. But when it happens and a few hours later, oh, it feels like fucking shit. But these bombs or whatever, this is the technical term we use, bomb or just dying on stage. They happen time a long time ago, so it doesn't, you know what I mean. Now I can reflect on them and just laugh and stuff. And the best part is, well, it's not really the best though, is it? But I actually have the recordings because I record every gig. So oh my god, listening to them, it's fucking tough, mate. So yeah, I'm just, because I have like a little list of all the gigs, and pretty much this is going to be the episode. Sorry, for this week, I will just read you out the stuff in full detail, because I'll tell you now how I record all my gigs and all that stuff. But I think it's gonna be a very fun episode for you, mate. So yeah, stick around. So okay, let's just get straight into it, because I do have a lot of bad performances, and I'll try to do them in one episode, but I'm not making any promises. So maybe there's gonna be a two-parter. Let's see how it goes. So the thing about me is I have this spreadsheet on Excel. And what I did is, when I first started out comedy, I actually write down every gig I do. So after I do a few gigs, I sit down and I open the spreadsheet. And actually, if you're a comedian, and especially if you're starting out, I think, yeah, if you're starting out, this is a great exercise that you can do with yourself, because that way you kind of have a, I don't know, like a track record. You know what I mean? Like if you're a company, if you start a business, and how you need to record, each month how many sales you've done, how much expenses you had, you know, um, supply chains and all that stuff, and how many items you sold. Yeah, what quantity of each items you sold a day, a week, a month, whatever. And I think it's very good, so you can see how your company is progressing. Same with stand up. I've said it many times that doing a stand up, becoming a stand up comedian, or just having a career in entertainment, or becoming like a personal brand, is exactly the same as opening a business. So I think it's good if you keep track of those things. And so I'm just gonna tell you how I structure my recording of the gigs, and then I'm gonna start actually reading out and with the funny silly stories and all that stuff. So what I do is, I have the date of the actual gig, I have the name of the venue, I have the address, I have the, well, I don't record the address anymore because I kind of know where everything is, but anyway, I have the name of the city or the town or whatever. Then I have for how many minutes I was booked. I think that is very important to keep a track of. Then in little brackets right next to it. No, sorry, how many minutes I've done on stage, and then with little brackets for how many minutes I've been booked. I think that is really important, because you can kind of see, do you have the tendency to go over? Do you have the tendency to to perform less? And I have a stopwatch, so every time I go on stage, and I record the gig, so it's kind of easy for me to see how many minutes exactly I've done. And if somebody said, oh, you went over, blah blah blah, you can always check your phone or check your watch and be like, no, mate, I did the exact right time. Or maybe actually you did go over, because sometimes maybe I do like 12 minutes and I'm thinking that I've done 10, but I've actually went over. And also you can check your progress with how minutes you've done, because when you start out you're usually gonna do 5 minutes, and now I started to do on stage 15 to 20 minute sets, and the most I've ever done as a booked act was 22 minutes, and I've done a few 15-minute sets, and in total I have about a half an hour of material now, and I've been doing comedy for 8 months, so I'm very happy with my progression. And also then I record how many people have been at the venue. It's quite easy, to be honest with you. Like if you're doing a small pub or something, I just count them before the gig and I put it, I write down in my phone. Or if it's a club, sorry, hold on. Or if it's a comedy club, yeah, sorry, I'm not, you know me, I don't do any edits and no Hollywood shit over here, so you get to hear fucking everything, motherfucker. So yeah, you just ask them how many people you have, how much is the capacity of the club, and how much you think is sold out, blah blah blah. It's quite easy. And then you have the little win, loss, draw, like they do in boxing or professional sports. And I try to be objective as possible, because I don't want to be like, mate, I've seen some acts where, we're gigging together and they absolutely died on their ass. They had, I don't know, for like 10 minutes, they had like 2 laughs or whatever, and they come backstage and they're like, fucking smashed it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, no, mate. And, and I've gigged with those acts like a few times and they've always done really bad. But when you ask them, they're like, oh, like fucking smashing it. So you need to be very honest and objective with yourself. And I always try to be, a little bit down, you know what I mean? Like if I do good, I'll be like, yeah, okay, I can do better, that type of stuff. I don't want to be like, yeah, I'm doing very well, I'm smashing it, blah blah blah. You need to be hard on yourself, I think, in this stand-up comedy adventure, so you can become better. Okay, so now let's just get straight into it. So I've done 69 gigs so far for those 8 months. I've bombed, died on my ass or lost whatever 15 times. And I had 5 gigs, which was like a draw, which was like, like 50-50. So that means 20. So 69, 49. Yeah, I'm really bad at math now. If my math teacher is listening, she's probably having a fucking heart attack or something. Yeah, so 49 gigs, that went okay. All right, yeah. That I'm happy with my performance. Let's just put it that way. And then I always listen to the audio as well, so I can get a feel of how the gig went, and then I get some feedbacks from the bookers and maybe some audience members and all that stuff. So I try to keep it as objective as and honest as possible. So I'm gonna do the story about how I got into comedy, because I think that's quite an interesting story in full detail in the future in some other episodes. And so for now, what I'm just gonna tell you is like the short version is I did 3 gigs. No, I started officially comedy on the 14th of June. 14th of June officially, and I've been doing it straight for 8 months. Been pretty active before this current situation. But in end of 2018, I think it was December, beginning of I think it was the end of November or something like that, I did 1 gig in Hot Water Comedy Club, like a 5-minute set, my first gig, because doing comedy was just something on my bucket list. You know what I mean? I've never thought it's gonna be anything serious, or I'm just gonna pursue it full time and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do 1 gig. It went very well. I was like, oh my god, I'm so happy, I'm so funny. And I wasn't, but the MC, he told them this is his first time ever, so they were really good to me. Now when I look back at it, material was shit, but when you start out, you always shit. That is the great equalizer, isn't it? Everybody starts from zero. And then I really enjoyed it, and I saw that they had a comedy course. So I did the comedy course, and I saw that they had a graduation at the end. So I did that as well, like 4 weeks. It was really fun. I used to go there every Sunday for 2 or 3 hours at Hot Water. Then I stay and watch the show and just see how the comedy world works and behind the scenes. You know what I mean? It was just so much fun, and just interacting with the comedians and meeting people. And it was So those were the two gigs I did, and another one I'm gonna talk about now, three at the end of the year, and that's it. You know what I mean? And then 6 months I didn't even do anything, and then I got into it, which is a different story. I'm gonna tell you some other time. So my the first gig that I really died on my ass. Oh, it was excruciating. Was actually my second gig. So the first gig that I told you, went very well. So I used to go to this Korean group. I told you, I think, in the previous episodes, Korean language exchange group, and I used to go there all the time. I used to be very close with everybody. But the group, I don't know if it's still in business. I'm not sure. I haven't been there in ages now. I'm too busy. But anyway, so the organizer, we used to be very good friends with her, and she said to me, I'm doing like a Christmas party for the group, and we need a MC, and you can do a bit of stand up. We're gonna have some games, music. You can introduce this and that. Do you want to be a part of it? And I was like, yeah, of course, sure. I've done hot water, blah, blah, blah. I'm really funny. Oh my God, dude. I was so naive back then, but I was just a young boy. Well, not really that young though. I think I was 28 by that time, so it's not really that young. Anyway, and I was like, yeah, okay, let's do it. So I went there, I think it was the end of December, something like that. And I went there hour and a half earlier. I'll never forget that. Oh my God, dude, it was so bad. I went there, and it was only her. She was all stressing out and going crazy and stuff because, she was trying to organize everything. And it was in a pub in town. I don't even remember the name of it. And downstairs, it was really nice. So they had like big stage, it was like space, you know what I mean, for karaoke and stuff. They had microphones, they had the DJ booth, the sound, everything, and they had a bar, like a bar. They had all the chairs and stuff. It was really nice, like a perfect room if you want to do something like that, or like a private event, private comedy event. That is the perfect place. And I went there, and she was, doing all the preparation and stuff. And I was like, okay, I need to practice. Fucking hell, mate. So I'm just practicing in just an empty room, you know what I mean, just by myself, doing crowd work with imaginary people. Yeah, mate, that's how fucking fucking stupid I was. And I'm like, yeah, oh, what's your name? And I'm just going, and I'm smashing it, by the way. I am absolutely killing it. That room with no, it's just her, mate. You know what I mean? And she just, and I think later on somebody else came, and she's just preparing something. She doesn't even pay attention to me. And I'm out there with my microphone and this and that. And oh my God, it was, and I was like, I was so like cocky slash confident. You know what I mean? And but the thing is, when you start doing comedy like on a regular basis, it's a huge like reality check, and it's huge, like it keeps you humble. You know what I mean? And that's why I love it. It keeps you like, it completely changed me. You know what I mean? As a person, I've become so sweet. I've always been like a relatively nice guy, a bit bitchy, but still like I'm proper sweet now, because oh my God, when you die on your ass in front of like maybe 50, 60 strangers, dude, oh my God, or even more, it's so humiliating. It's really embarrassing, and people don't want to talk to you and stuff. But hold on, okay, hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I'm doing all the practicing, and I finish, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go and get some food. So I'm getting food, and I'm all, in my head, I have like there was the Rocky theme song, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fucking kill it, and I'm gonna smash it. But I'm like super, and I go into the thing, and people are starting to gather, and there was a lot of people, man. It's a small room, so maybe like 60 people or something. It was jam packed. You know what I mean? All me mates, all that type of stuff. Thank God that because I have a few mates that were really close outside of the group. They're like really, like best friends, all that type of stuff. Thank God that, I don't know what happened, but they couldn't make it. Thank God they didn't make it, because it was so fucking embarrassing, mate. And it's so bad. So we go down there, and it starts to fill up. And I remember I had like this really stupid Santa hat, because the organizer, she insisted I had something. Anyway, so I'm just talking with the people, all the friends coming, and all of a sudden I see like this Indian girl comes over. Yeah, I'm such an idiot. So we're just talking, and all, like, because there were some people I've never seen there before, and a lot of people I've seen before, And she comes over, and she just approaches me, and I'm like a very good looking girl, but and she has the accent and everything, and I was like, "Hey, how you doing, mate? Are you okay?" And I'm trying to be friendly. I don't want to be like fucking creepy and stuff like that. But I think she was a bit drunk because she kind of like, "Hey, how you doing? Blah blah blah. Your outfit's very cute or something like that." And I was like, "Oh, thank you very much. Blah blah blah. Are you here?" And she took my Santa Claus hat. And I was like, oh, and I'm thinking like, oh, okay, maybe she's interested in something. And I was like, who are you here with? And she said, and I'm not gonna drop any names and stuff, but she pointed, and he's like one of our friends. And I was like, oh, I did, you know what I mean? I didn't know, and I just took my hat and I was like, oh, okay, you know what I mean? Because I was like, she's with a mate and stuff like that. I don't know where they met. I've never met her before, but I'm not the type of guy to go after a guy's back, or especially a friend and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, okay, mate, have a nice time. And she was like, what do you do? And I was like, oh, I'm the DJ, I'm a comedian, and I'm like super. You know what I mean? She was, oh my god, I can't wait to see you. And I was like, yeah, like really confident and stuff. But you know what I mean? Like, I think she was so drunk after like half an hour, she didn't even know what the fuck was happening. But I was like, yeah, Mr. Show Business over here. Such a fucking idiot. And but anyways, then I met my other mate that they were, and I was like, oh, how did you met? Blah blah blah. And he was like, yeah, she's my date for for the weekend or whatever the fuck. And I was like, oh, have some fun, guys, whatever. Then I saw my other mates, and I saw a lot of people I've never seen before, and they started, and I was like, oh my god. So I was like, because I used to joke with everybody that I'm like Magic Mike, because I think by that time it was 2000 end of 2018. I think the movie Magic Mike 2 has come out. I'm not sure. And I used to be like, my name Magic Mike, blah blah blah. I used to introduce myself, like shake somebody's hand that I've never seen before, and I was like, my name's Mike. They call me Magic Mike, and they was like, what? Ha ha ha. And I was like, yeah, I have the name and the physique for that nickname. Always gets a laugh. and and they was like, okay, are you ready for the show to start? And everybody was like, woo! Oh yeah, I forgot to say that there was a lot of Koreans and foreign students that have just arrived in the country. But I didn't know that, because I thought it's gonna be the regulars from the group. And there are a lot of English people, you know what I mean? And a lot of English speakers. I didn't know that. So I'm just like, and I'm standing next to the stage kind of hiding, but everybody can see me because it's not that big. And I was like, and now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking on the microphone, are you ready for your host for this evening? And I was like, yeah. Are you ready to have some fun? Yeah. Okay, Gary, put your hands together, stomp your feet for your host for this evening, and compare Magic Mike. And I'm screaming, bro, fucking just yelling. And I go out and my stand up, because I don't know, I needed to change some stuff or whatever. I don't remember. Well, it wasn't that good, let's just put it that way. And it was because the program was kind of weird, and she was like very strict, the organizer. She wanted to be like, oh, 10 minutes of this, and then we have a game, and this and that, and people, they just want, because it's everybody's finished school and jobs and all that stuff, and they just want to chill. And there was food, by the way, at the back, and drinks, so everybody just wants to chill, have some food, have some drinks. I think there was like Secret Santa or something at the end, but you know what I mean, nobody wants to play fucking games, nobody wants to listen to me. Anyway, I'm starting to doing some jokes, fucking nothing, mate, like nothing. And I've done the hot water, and I fucking killed it. And I was like, what is happening? And a lot of there was a lot of Koreans and Asian students, and they're just looking at me like, what is this guy doing on stage? And I was thinking, like, do they even have stand-up comedy in Korea? I'm genuinely, just because I have no idea. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it like they don't even have stand up in Korea. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know if they have. Probably they. I mean, they have comedy shows and stuff and sitcoms probably, but I don't think they have stand up. You know what I mean? Like we have in Americans anyway. And they're just looking at me like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Mate, and after like few minutes of nothing, you know what I mean? It's not even like they're just looking at each other like, what is happening? They have no idea what's happening. And from time to time, you see somebody slowly getting up and going to the back just to get some food. And after maybe 3 minutes, I start to sweat. I'm like, and I'm thinking, what the fuck's happening? And I'm doing some stupid jokes about Primark and about Forever 21 and about this and that. And I'm yelling and I'm screaming and I'm absolutely panicking, mate. Like, what the fuck? Because, I have no experience. Now it's different. I've been in situations like this, but now you kind of know what to do, how to maneuver and how to get out of situations and how to at least try to save face. But I had no idea. And I'm asking them some questions like, hey, what's your name? My name is so and so. Oh, what do you do for a living? They're like, I just came to the UK, and I was like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, how long you been in the UK? 4 days. And I'm like, oh shit. And but they barely speak English, and it was so embarrassing. And I was supposed to do like 15 opening up. I did. Oh, dude. So, mate. So we have some of me mates at the. Oh yeah, man. This was. I couldn't sleep for a few days. It was so bad. We so behind the DJ booth there was some of our mates and one of the girls, and I know her. We have a like, I wouldn't say we're good friends, but we know each other. She's nice and stuff. When I see her at the stuff, and she's just like, boo. After maybe like 4 minutes or whatever, but she's just standing there, just like so bored. She just put her, hand on her face so it doesn't fall out. And she's like, boo, boring. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing? And I kind of snapped because I'm so panicking, mate. You know what I mean? And this is in front of all my mates and everybody, bro. And the drunk Indian girl that probably is thinking, like, who the fuck is this guy? She's like, hey, I almost, you know what I mean? I talked with that fucking guy 20 minutes ago. And I'm dying on my ass, bro. And I snap at her and I was like, you're not helping out. Shut up. And she was just like, whoa. And I really snapped. And she kind of ducked down behind the uh, behind the DJ podium or whatever. And I kind of figured out, I was like, ah, shit, I fucked up because I was like, too, you know what I mean? When you get legit angry as a comedian, it just stops being funny at that point. And I was just like, rise, my child, rise. I'm only joking. I'm trying to save face. And she kind of rose up and I was like, ah, I'm joking. Ladies and gentlemen, applause for, so and so, her name. And everybody just looking at each other like, what is happening? And they just like, those little weird claps here and there, and you see somebody from the back just eating and stuff. And everybody was just like, what? And also the microphone, because the people who are like the sound engineers or whatever and the DJ, they're just some of our mates, but they were late, so it couldn't do a proper mic check. So after everybody was sitting down, we do a mic check while I'm on stage and everybody's just waiting for the show to start. And it's just so much, how do you call it, like echo, and like it's horrible, mate. It's bad. Like, it's like all these sounds and stuff from the microphone, people holding the ears, and they're like, what the fuck? And I'm just standing there like, yeah, sorry, I'm trying to make some jokes and whatever, but it doesn't work. And everybody, and I'm so frustrated, and I'm like, oh my god, what is happening? I'm just screaming to myself and from the inside. And after I did 6 minutes max, I was supposed to do 15, and I kind of like, okay, and enjoy some music now. I just got off. And the worst part is, mate, that this was a whole night thing, so I was booked, quote unquote, for the whole night. You know what I mean? So when I got off stage, quote unquote, it's not a stage, it's just, like big space with a little mat that you can dance floor or whatever. I kind of sat down right next to the microphone because this was my little station or whatever. And everybody just, you're still there. They still know what the fuck just happened. So, I mean, they are talking, but they kind of look you from time to time like, what the fuck, dude? And I was like so embarrassed, mate. You just stand there and you die. Because, at least comedy gigs and the clubs, when you do it, you got off stage and you can't hide away. Or you can leave, but I cannot leave because we started at like 6, half 6, 7, and we finished at like 12 or 11. You know what I mean? It's like a whole night thing. And I'm just standing there and I was like, oh my fucking god. And I kind of turned around and pretended, because there was a table with some papers and stuff in the games, and I was pretending that I was reading something. I wasn't reading fucking anything. And I was pulling my phone and reading. And they were like, oh, you okay? They come to see me. They're like, yeah, I'm just looking over my material and stuff. They're like, oh, great job, man, great job. And I'm like, oh, thank you, thank you. But I knew they was like, fucking hell. And the girl, she got really mad at me that I snapped. And then they played some games. But I managed to save the situation eventually because, I was on stage 4 or 5 times because there was some games and announcements. And I said to her, look, because they started drinking, they didn't want to listen, blah, blah, blah. Then we did like a little introduction, a little game. Then they got really drunk, maybe like hour and a half in. They got all drunk. And they're all students, man. They were like 19, 20 years old. How much booze do you think a 20-year-old can handle? You know what I mean? On a Friday evening, if they've been at uni all day or whatever, everybody's tired and shit. So anyway, they got all drunk and buzzed up, and then they loosen up a little bit. And then we had like a little game. We had, I remember, what was it, like Secret Santa or musical? No, it wasn't musical chairs. I think we did only two games because they didn't want to play games because like she was telling me, okay, ask them now, do you want to play a game or listen to music or whatever? And I was like, guys, do you want to play games? They don't even listen, mate. They're just talking, having drinks and flirting with each other or whatever. You're 19, bro. This is like the first time you're away from your family. So the last thing you want to do is you want to listen to me. You know what I mean? Talk shit. And everybody's just so excited and stuff just to be young and full of energy. And I was like, hey guys, I'm just literally screaming on the mic, do you want to play some games? I was like, no, boo. They just booing me and shit. Fuck off. And I was like, hey, what do you want me to do? They don't want to play some games. Then I went out, had some food again because I get hungry very easily, very quickly. I came back and they were all drunk and I was like, you know what, I need to save face because before that I died at the beginning, then I tried to do after that in the middle a bit of material didn't go well as well, and I was like fucking hell, and I just joined the crowd and just me mates and just talking and all that stuff. And the organizer, she was like, "We're not gonna do," and I was like, "Mate, fuck it. Like, let's just forget all the program because look, they don't wanna, you know what I mean." So I managed to convince her because I was supposed to do a total of half an hour to 45 minutes of material, which is insane. You know what I mean? I've never done it. I've done it, you know what I mean, only one time. So I was talking with my mates, and at the end, she said, "Let's do," because we had the competition, which was very fun, like the ugliest Christmas jumper, and there was like 9 people or something who came actually with jumpers. So we got them on stage. I had them like I asked them little questions and stuff. And now if I do this now, I kind of know how to interact better with people, and I don't MC, as a comedian. I've done it only once, and I didn't like it, but I think being an MC of a comedy night is different than being a host of a variety game show night. You know what I mean? Because MC, just need to make people relax, but you also need to be funny every 20, 30 seconds and introduce the acts. Well, I compare a host to a variety game show, whatever, slash night, it's a bit different. And I did some jokes with them, talk with them, blah 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 blah. We had the winner as well, one of my mates, a very nice costume, and it was good. We played some music, they danced, whatever, and I kind of managed to save face because they all got so shit faced by the end, and I kind of left because I think I had to work in the morning or whatever, so I kind of left a bit early. But the first half, I absolutely died inside, mate. I'm just standing there, and that was like, oh my god, what the fuck? And when I was in the bus, I was like, okay, that's okay, because like the thing is, if you sometimes even if you do bad, if you do 15 minutes, and it's so bizarre, like I had cases where I'm just dying on my ass for like 7 or 8 minutes, but somehow I manage just to win them over. Maybe I say something, or I just snap, or I rant, or I hit them with a really good punchline, or like really good short bit, and I just win them over. And the last 4 or 5 minutes go really well. So when you go off stage, it's weird. You kind of forget that you actually died for the majority of this thing, and people forget as well. They come over and they're like, "Oh, mate, that was so much fun." You know what I mean? Even though I had a case where the last 2 minutes were really good. The first 8 was really bad, and everybody's, "Oh, it was so much fun," because people forget. Honestly, even I was like, "Oh, that was not that bad." You know what I mean? But you didn't do that well. But the last 2 minutes you did very well. Anyway, but it's very rare to manage to turn a crowd if you lost them for 8 minutes. It's one in a million. You know what I mean? And you need to be really good. I've done it only once and by accident, to be honest with you, because I just snapped at them, and I think maybe it's in here, to be honest with you, in this list. Anyway, so again, I was going back with the bus, and I was like, yeah, it was okay. I mean, but yeah, it taught me a lesson, but not really, because after that, my next gig was my gig number 3. Okay, let's go through it. It was on, hold on, let me see the date. It was on the 27th of January 2019. It was at Hot Water Comedy Club. I was, 7 minutes, booked for 7 minutes in front of 150 people, mate. Oh, fuck yes. Oh, fuck yes. And your boy, your good old Mikey boy, absolutely died on his fucking ass, mate. And you know what the best part is? Well, it's not really the best, but the best part is, hold on, where the fuck is my list? I lost my list. that the actual video is online. Yes, because the Hot Water, they have a very good social media presence, and they film all the gigs. So what you can do is, after a gig is filmed, they ask you, do you want this gig to go to the channel or you don't want it to go, because if it's good or not. And I said no, but and I recorded it. But when I came back and I started doing my first gig, like proper gig, on the 14th of was it June, was at Hot Water. And when they asked me, the set was okay, and I said, yeah, we can put it on, or maybe was it that one or another one? I'm not sure, but I said, yeah, put it on, and I said the name of the gig, but there was a bit of a misinformation or whatever, so they actually by accident put the other one, you know what I mean? So my second gig is online. Technically my third gig, but my second gig there is online, and you can find it if you type in Mike Yannick. It's actually my first video from that channel. It's me with like this camouflage sweater from Primark. Mr. Fashion over here. And the set is, oh my fucking god. Now, I don't know. I haven't, I don't have the balls to watch it, to be honest with you, because it brings back too many memories. I've seen it only once. But I don't know. As long as I remember, it went really bad. And it was no laughing. And there was a few situations where I was thinking, like, thank God, one or two improvs and somebody heck out, so I put him down, and I was like, if it wasn't for those 3-4 things, it would be a silence of 7 minutes, and that is the difference, because they didn't tell them that was like I'm beginning, I'm new, blah blah blah, you know what I mean? So, and which is good, so you can see the genuine reaction of the crowd, because if they told them, oh, this is his second gig and he's doing the course with us, blah blah blah, they'll show me a lot of love, and I'll have like a bad, I was thinking like, oh, I'm so good, so it didn't go well. So okay, I'll tell you the story. So I'm finishing the course, and it's every Sunday. You go for 2 hours. It's very fun. Anyway, so I went to Subway to have some food, and we're staying for the gig, and we're performing, and I'm absolutely sweating bullets. You know what I mean? I'm gonna tell you about my first time, in other podcast, the full story, but this time again, and I'm at the back, and I'm nervous, bro. I'm like, fucking hell. But, because we practiced so much, like those 7 minutes, we've practiced them, and we've been on stage as well. You know what I mean? In the room. I was nervous, but I was thinking like, yeah, I got this. I've practiced so many times, and, my coach said it's okay, blah, blah, blah. And we're at the back, and I meet some of the comedians, and actually one of them, I don't drop not name drop on this podcast, but one of them, we're super close, and he's like the first person I've ever met in this industry, and I love him so much, and we've gigged with him so many times, and he was there, and he said it was good. He's like, yeah, dude, it's okay, blah blah blah, but I don't know, he's just sweet like that, I don't know. And so we go back, and they announce me. This was at the old venue at Hot Water. I go out, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, oh, I wouldn't say confident, but I was like pretty sure I got this. And I started doing some jokes, boom, 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 and like fucking nothing. And I was like, oh, what? You know what I mean? All of a sudden, because I've never done the set before, I practiced it, in front of the coach and the other guys from the course, which was like 2 people, but I've never done it in front of an audience, so I didn't know what to expect. And I was like, bam, 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 nothing. And I was like, hold on, what? You know what I mean? And then I started to panic a little bit, and I am with like the shirt and the thick sweater, and I'm starting to sweat again. I sweat a lot when I'm bombing on stage, by the way. And I was like, oh, shit, what the fuck? And I'm like, but I still did my whole set, which was like, I was quite happy with that. I didn't kind of went into the crowd, which it became a bad habit for me for the first 3 months. When a joke doesn't hit, when a punchline, I go to the crowd and I get all over the place. I start to improvise. I ditch the material. Now I'm very strict with myself. So, I have nights where I know that I'm just going to improvise and I'm just going to try stuff out so I can build different type of skills. But now, but I have nights where I'm like, just material, you know what I mean? No improv, because I need to work on the material, get it better. And I was like, ah, shit, bro, what the fuck's happening here? You know what I mean? Nobody's fucking laughing. Gee, everybody started looking at me. And after a few minutes, when you don't make them laugh, it becomes awkward, you know what I mean? It becomes like, holy shit, what is happening? They know that you're dying. You know that you're dying on your ass. Somebody heckled me. I put him down, which is good. but then it turns out the MC, I think, told me that this guy, he was heckling throughout the night because I'm in the green room, so I don't know what's happening on stage. So that's why, because when I say fuck off or something like that, everybody's like, yeah, everybody really cheered, and I was surprised why, because then I found out that's the reason for it. And I got off stage. I finished. I got off stage. They applaud, but it's London was well done, but yeah, fuck you, guy. That type of applause, and I felt so bad, dude. I was like, oh my god, this is horrible. You know what I mean? It's a horrible feeling, and second time in a row. But and I went to the, I was really sad. I went to the, I left. I didn't stay to the end, and I went to the bus and drove off into the darkness, and I was really sad. But I was thinking like, okay, man, that is, I've done it. It was my bucket list. I can say that I've done this thing in my life, and then years later, 6 months later, and by that time I haven't wrote a single joke. I haven't thought about comedy, nothing. I booked one gig in March, but I missed the gig, and to be honest with you, like, and I've apologized. He's a good mate of mine, the organizer. I've done his gig a few times, so it's okay now. But thank God I didn't go, because I wasn't, you know what I mean? I didn't have material. I wasn't ready. And if I've done it, because I was thinking, like, should I try again? And I would have bombed really bad, because it's a really tough room, because it's in a bar. And I did it the last time I did it. It went very well, but this was me after doing comedy for 7 months straight. I've done it when I was maybe a month and a half in, or 2 months, and I've died on my ass really bad. So, you know what I mean? It's those type of rooms that where, like, you need to know kind of how to do comedy a little bit so you can do it. Otherwise, you fucking die on your ass. And thank God I didn't do it. And I missed the bus, in all fairness. But since I started doing comedy seriously, I've never canceled or missed a gig so far, which I'm very proud, very, very proud with myself. And so, and I was thinking like, okay. And then I get a call. One day I get an email 6 months later, because I've done the club 2 times now. And do you want to come back? And then this is how I come back. And the gig was really nice. And then I had 3 gigs in a row, which were really good. And then, a very special person to me, a promoter, which, by the way, maybe I'll have one day on the podcast when I start to do a video, and after this whole nonsense finish and I buy a second microphone, I will start having guests from time to time, just close people or people that I really enjoy, and I'm just gonna talk shit and stuff. It's not gonna be like the proper, like interview style, like, oh, how did you get into comedy? No, because it's with me mates, so we're just gonna talk shit and try to be funny and just roast each other, and pretty much what we do backstage. I'm just gonna try to do it on the podcast, but it's gonna be from time to time. Okay, we're still gonna have our quality time together. Don't worry about it. I'm not. It's just gonna be me, good old boy. Okay, so. Hot water, yeah. Then this one, okay. Now the other one is comics, Comics Anonymous. Okay, so by this point I'm doing comedy, June, so June, July, so July, August, 2 months. So by this point I'm 2 months into comedy. I'm doing it super often, as much as I can. I did like 10 gigs, which is a lot in the UK if you live in the north. And if you don't drive like me, because there's not that many spots here in the north. I know in New York, they do like 7-8 sets a night, which one day, if I go to America for comedy, I'm definitely gonna stay in New York for a bit, so I can do as many reps as I can, so I can figure out the people, the crowds, the clubs, the structure over there, and then maybe move to somewhere else. Because like in New York, you need to drive, and New York is very nice, but they don't have that many spots, and you cannot do one or two more a night, you know what I mean, from different clubs. Or in New York, they literally jump from club to club, but because everything is in Manhattan usually, and 7-8 spots a night. Are you kidding me? I've done 14 gigs in February, and that was crazy amount. Like in New York, that's like a weekend. You can do 14 spots probably, or whatever. I don't know. So they have this thing called Comics Anonymous. I don't think it's still going. It's in the basement of a bar, a really nice basement, by the way. And so I go there with one of me, because so by this point I'm starting to make connections in the comedy world, and I met a few guys. Really, we're still very close, and I love them so much, from my little Manchester posse or group, gang, whatever the fuck. And he told me about this place. He said, look, you just sign up and you get to do comedy. And I was like, oh, really? Okay. So I got the bus, went over there. It was really hot during the summer, fucking really hot. I'm all sweating and shit. And I didn't know that. It was 5 minutes and there was like 14 comedians or something. And I was like, what the fuck? Because if you live in Manchester, they do a lot of reps. You know what I mean? Like Manchester is the equivalent of New York, I guess, in the north because they have so many open mics there, so you can do a lot of stuff. Liverpool, not so much. And so, here, if you have spots, I think that's why, because like British comedians are really good and they get really good in a very short amount of time. Like you can become a paid comedian. No, you can become a semi-pro comedian in 18 months if you do everything correctly, and you can become a professional comedian 3 or 4 years. Which in America, I've heard that is not the case. Like in America, takes at least 7, 8, 9, 10 years to get into some paid work. I mean, obviously everybody's different. I don't know why. Maybe because there's like too many comedians, I guess, and not enough spots or something. But in the UK, especially in the north, because we have so few spots, every spot is like you're filming a Netflix special. So you need to go prepared. You need to go give 100%. You cannot fuck about and be like, I'll just wing it, or I'll be just like, I'm not gonna take this serious. Well, no, mate, because like maybe you have 5 gigs this month. You know what I mean? So every gig, every spot needs to be brilliant so you can progress. So I think that's why, because it's a very good scene, especially here in the north. I've never been to the south for comedy, so I don't know what the situation is there, and hopefully I'll go one day. But here in Liverpool, it's fucking brilliant. Some amazing comedians in Liverpool, and so I go there and I see him, and we start. They sign us up like 14 comedians, and we go to this basement, and I kind of know now what it's called. Comics Anonymous. There is no audience, like zero audience. I'm not even joking. There's no advertisement, no fucking nothing. You don't even know that something's happening in that basement. That type of shit. So I go there, and I didn't know I was second, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And I haven't drank anything, no water. And they just call me up. There's no running order, no nothing. And I go on stage. You have 5 minutes of 14 comedians, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And I was kind of disappointed. I was kind of mad that I actually went and spent 15 quid or whatever, because I had an offer for another spot, but it came when I was on the bus, whatever. And I was thinking, I should have just taken that. And I traveled fucking, how much I traveled? Like 2 hours in total or something. And from town is, you know what I mean? I kind of traveled a lot for this. And I was like, fuck, man. I just started roasting everybody. The comedians and shit. I knew some of them, so it was okay. And I was like, this basement looks like the lair of the Penguin from the Batman movies, because it genuinely did. And I'm just started roasting the venue and this and that. They have like this massive light in my face. Frank Sinatra was singing before we came on stage. It was very bizarre, but it looked like a basement from the 1920s, or like the hideout of the Ninja Turtles or something like that. It was very interesting. Like the venue, if it was jam packed, it would be nice. It was packed, but and during the summer, during the winter, if they don't put the heat on, it's probably freezing because it was so fucking cold. But it was okay because it was the summer and shit. But that's the story. I mean, it's not that interesting. But and then I was just mad. I was really mad, and I went home, but I missed the other gig in Liverpool by the time I got home. But hey, that's the thing though. You learn. You know what I mean? And I died on my ass over there. Well, yeah, it's kind of died because I was not interested. I got really pissed off. Okay. Oh, bro. So this was on the 15th of August. Now, the 20th of August, I went. Now, when I'm saying all these stuff, I want people to know I'm not bashing any venue, okay? Because the thing with the comedy stuff is sometimes you might promote it, sometimes you might have a killer lineup. I've seen some outstanding like lineup, free entry, and you have 6 people in who are not interested and have no idea. Because if you're not a comedy fan, most of the times, especially the up and coming comedians, you don't know who's who. You know what I mean? So I'm not bashing anybody. That's what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? It's not always the fault of the venue. So I'm just telling you my experience and what I've been through. I just want to make that clear because I don't want to burn any bridges. You know what I'm saying? So the other gig was on the 20th of August, and it was in the Comedy Cellar at the Verve in Leeds. Now, this was a very big mistake on my part, and I'll tell you why. Because I've been to Skipton once, and I've been to there was like near Leeds, like this little village or whatever, and I did a theater, for the first time. It was 100 people. It was really good. It was probably my favorite gig I've done so far. But this little thing, the problem is, like, I've booked it. So when you start out, that's the thing. When you start out, you try to get as many gigs as possible. So you just book everything you can. You know what I mean? And you'll take any opportunity. And by this point, I've been doing comedy for like 2 months. Yeah, 2 months and a little bit. And this thing started to come up, and I was like, ah, shit, should I cancel? Should I not cancel? But the thing about the comedy gigs is, you never know who you're gonna meet. You never know who is in the audience. You know what I mean? You never know what's gonna happen. So sometimes if you're like, this, I don't want to do it, or it looks like a small gig, and you know what I mean, you never know what type of connection you can make, and connections are very important in this industry, like everything, isn't it? It's, what's the old saying, it's not, it's who you know, isn't it? Like, it's not what you know, it's who you know, something like that. So I was like, fuck, I want to cancel, but I was like, okay, I don't want to be that guy who pulls out, you know what I mean? And I saw the venue. I saw some pictures, but I didn't see like the size of the room. I saw the stage, beautiful comedy cellar, and I was like, oh, okay, it's probably really nice. And by that time, I didn't know anybody who's done it, so I wasn't asking around and stuff. So I was like, okay, and the ticket, because Leeds is kind of far away from here, I went with a bus and came back with a train. Everything cost me 28 quid. And by that time, by the way, those 3 months or whatever, because I was spending so much money on gigs, because you just want to gig. Dude, I get paid every 2 weeks. I literally had like a pound left in my bank account. I'm not joking. Like, it was literally no money, because you're like so obsessed with the beginning. Now I'm much better to balance my money, and now I do so many car shares, and car shares are usually much cheaper than, sometimes than buses, and much quicker and stuff. So I go there, the bus, oh my god, it's 2 hour and a half or 3 hour journey or whatever the fuck. And I had food and stuff. I go there, I walk, and it's during the summer. It's pretty much taking me the whole day, by the way. Like, I'm supposed to be there at like, I don't know, 6:30 or something. And I left because, I need to go to town to catch the bus. My bus was like 3:30, so I can be there 6:30. And by the time, because it's far away from the venue, by the time I get to the venue, it's like 7, you know what I mean? That type of shit. And I'm leaving here 2:30. So my whole day is doing this. I went there half an hour earlier, and I was like, oh, so where's the venue? It's downstairs. It's closed for now. Okay. So two other comedians come in. So we go down, and it's like 4 comedians and no people. And mate, I spent how much? 20, 30 quid? Spent 30 quid, and I spent my whole day for this. And it's not my fault, you know what I mean? It's not their fault. It's my fault because I haven't done my research, but I didn't know at the beginning. And I'm like, holy shit, bro. And all of a sudden, 2 girls come in, and then 2 guys come in, young guys, and one other guy that has been maybe a comedian that has done it a few times, so he goes there. So 5 people and 4 comedians. Oh my god. The MC goes on stage, fucking nothing, mate. Like, the audience is just dead. The first comedian comes on stage, nothing, just dead. The second guy comes on stage, which was like one of the most talented people I've ever seen in my life. The guy was insanely good. He has like a huge following, I found out on YouTube, and he's like an impressionist and slash comedian, and he does these outstanding impressions. He's been doing it for 8 years as an impressionist. I don't know, I think few years as a comedian. Unbelievable, mate. And this audience is just crickets, nothing. And I'm just looking at this, and I cannot believe that these people, they haven't paid anything, by the way, to be there. They have like these outstanding comedians. Besides me, obviously, I was legit shit, but and they're getting so much value for nothing, and they're not, you know what I mean? They're just like, whatever, bro. And I don't remember now, I don't want to open the calendar, but I think it was like a Friday night or something, so maybe that's why, or a Wednesday, people were just like, whatever, I just want to be somewhere else. And I'm after him, and I even said stuff like, oh my god, I cannot believe, I was like, how the fuck am I supposed to follow that? Like, I thought that I had any, talent. How fucking good was that last guy? And I started roasting one of the girls because he put her out on stage, and they were doing like these cue cards. So she needs to pick a cue card to read the name, and he does an impression, which was really fun. And she had like zero enthusiasm, just like yeah, Sean Connery, like just, Johnny Depp. And I just started roasting her, Emma, whatever the fuck. And I was like, you got here on stage, you were on the spotlight, and you got this unbelievably talented people. He was like, okay, pour out a cue card, and you gave him nothing, just and just talking shit. One of the guys, I think, was laughing, and because at the beginning when I started out, I used to do this thing where I go on stage and I roast the venue. I roast the, like, if I see them and if they remind me of something or I have a joke, I tell to them. I do like a bit of roasting, get them involved, and then do my material. I stopped doing that, to be honest with you. It's very rare that I'm gonna do that now, and I'm just fucking this that, just giving nothing, mate. And because I lost them with the roasting, they didn't enjoy it, and it was so bizarre. Like, mate, when you're dying on stage, it's one of the weirdest things on the planet, especially when it's a small gig, a basement with like 4 people. One of the comedians were laughing a lot, and he was like, oh, he added me on, we added each other on Facebook, and I gigged with him 1 or 2 times. He's a good guy. He enjoyed it, but everybody else, like the audience, was just like, what the fuck's happening? And I was just talking so much shit to them. And when this left, I wasn't even sad. I was mad that I lost my day. Again, nothing against the venue. It just happens, mate. Like, and I was just talking. He said, "Look, mate, sometimes it's full, sometimes it's nobody, and just it is what it is." So yeah, again, they were super sweet to me though. The MC was really nice, and the other guy, which I'm not gonna say his name, that we talked. They were all very sweet, very nice, but just the audience wasn't into it. Then we have, oh my god. So I have, I think, 2 gigs that are, I think they're gonna go down in history for me as my worst gigs ever. I mean, after this gig, I bro, I couldn't sleep for like the whole night. I couldn't sleep the whole night, and bro, I was mad, dude. It was like at that point where I wasn't like, should I stop doing this? But I was just so fucking mad and disappointed at myself. It was a nightmare. So this gig called Pros and Cons, and I've done it before, and it was so much fun. This was the gig, actually, the reason that I stayed. No, stayed in comedy. No, I mean, like, continued doing comedy, because it was so much fun for me. But oh my god, I died because I underestimated the crowd. That's what happens. That is the thing. So it's in this really nice bar, like a restaurant bar, really big, and they have this separate room, and it's run by a super close friend of mine who gives me gigs all the time. And I go there, and my only excuse was that I was still young. I was doing it maybe for, let's see the date, maybe 3 months by this point. My launch 26th of August. Yeah, 2 months and a half. So that is the only excuse I had, and I did 10 minutes. So anyway, so we go. It's jam packed, by the way. Middle class Liverpool Scousers, middle class Scousers. So everybody did well, and that is the worst thing, by the way, when you go, because not the worst, but like, if everybody dies on their ass, then it's the crowd. But if everybody kills it, and you're the only one who dies, then you're the shit. You know what I mean? So you don't even have an excuse. You can always say, well, the crowd was not into it. People did well. But that was with some really good comedians, in all fairness. And oh my god, dude. So anyway, he introduces me. I go on stage and I start to do my shtick that I don't do anymore, which is the roasting. And I was like, yeah, I start to scream and stuff. And he introduced me like he does a lot of cocaine and stuff like that, which I don't. I'm straight edge, but I give off that vibe probably. And fucking hell, mate. So I go on stage, and there was this couple, like this really beautiful woman on the first row with her boyfriend. And I said to her, "You're stunning. You look like an Instagram model." And she's like, "Oh," and she did like a little heart. And I said, "No." I just go on stage and I just point to her, and she was like, "No, no, no. Like, don't roast me." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I will." And then I said that she did the little heart, and I said, "But you look like the type of woman that really loves to argue just for the fun of it." Now, didn't get a laugh. I really enjoyed that joke. I still do. I think it's a fun joke because, like, she genuinely did. Because the thing is, when you're that good looking, like, you know, and she looked very, I wouldn't say feisty, but she looked Latin American, by the way. And this is not like bashing a stereotype that Latin American women are feisty, but they are a little bit feisty. Let's be fucking honest, because you know what I mean. I used to know some Spanish girls, and I mean, even though it's a bit different, still, and I've met some girls from like Brazil and like because we have everybody in this country, so you know what I mean. They are a little bit, but does their charm though, isn't it? That feisty, upbeat, full of energy personality. You know what I mean? Like I find that very interesting and attractive because I don't like shy girls that like introverts because they're usually the girls that I've met at least, and I've been in Spain. Everybody's really talkative. Everybody's really just fun and just full of life, and they just hug and kiss, and you know what I mean. Super affectionate when you know friends, and doesn't matter when they meet each other, and they wanna live and laugh and eat and drink and dance. You know that is the culture, and I find that very interesting. You know what I mean? Like especially to observe it because I don't like conservative cultures that it's just so quiet and everybody just all silent and stuff. I don't like that. You know, it's just not for me. I mean, if that's you, you know, you are who you are, but it's just not my type of personality. So this is how she looked. You know what I mean? And very very beautiful, honestly. Like I was even, I think, did I say that, or maybe I was thinking about it. I was like, why the fuck are you here, you know? Like you're so good looking. No, I didn't say that because it was all women, because if you say that, you know, all the women will be like, hey, hold on, how the fuck she's the only good looking one, you know? They'll get all jealous and stuff. So but I remember, oh, this is how I killed myself. Yeah, this is how I buried myself from the beginning. I went out, and I don't know why I'm so stupid, because like I'm so impulsive. Even here when I talk on the podcast, I say whatever the fuck comes to mind, and then I try to, you know, backtrack and save myself. And no, I was only joking, you know, just just talking shit. I went on stage, mate. It was only like, it was all women. I don't know why, maybe like four guys. And I went on stage, and the first thing I said, I grabbed the mic because you know to remove it. I looked at the stand up at the ceiling, and I said, "God damn, so many women! I'm here, and here I'm gonna die on my ass." I don't know what the fuck did I say. I just came to mind when I saw them. And I was like, fuck, my material is not female friendly. That's what I said. And they were like, what? And I just lost them straight away. And the next 10 minutes was just carnage. And then I started to roast her boyfriend. He didn't, man, he just like, well. And I was like asking them, are you together? And he was like, none of your fucking business. You know, he was just being all aggressive and shit. And I was like, what? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck, dude? And I was just trying to get some information because, hey, mate, I don't know. Maybe they're brother and sister. Maybe they're cousins. I don't know what the fuck. You know what I mean? So I cannot start and be like, oh, yeah, you shagging all the time. And he's going to be like, that's my sister. You know what I mean? I don't know what's your relationship. So you have to ask, you know, what's the deal. And he was super aggressive. He's not giving me anything. And by the way, when I spoke to him after the gig, we just sat down, and I was like, yeah, didn't go so well and stuff. And I was like, mate, you didn't really help out. I was just being honest with him. I was like, I was trying to get some information, and you were like so aggressive. I just said to him, and he was like, it's your job, mate. You're the comedian. You need. And I was like, yeah, mate, but when somebody asks you, like, so guys, what's your situation? Don't be like, none of your fucking business. Like, you want to fight him? Like, what the hell? I just said that to the guy. You know, I don't care. This is just how I am. Like, if I have something to say, I'll say it. I've been punched in the face many times. If you see my face, it's a fucking wreck. So I've been punched and slapped many times in the face. So, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna live my life and just be like, oh, I don't want to upset anybody. You know what I mean? And I'm not like the type to go around and fight with people and argue. But sometimes if I want to say something, I'll say it. I don't give a fuck. So, and he was a douchebag, mate. Like, at that gig, the way he behaved. But in all fairness, I was a big douchebag as well. You know what I mean? So maybe, yeah, maybe it's not his fault. But yeah, he didn't give me anything to work with. The girl as well. But yeah, and then I started to do this thing about, you know, the girl is so beautiful, you need to just keep her tight, man, just hug her and stuff. And I was doing all this like sketch and like how they're hugging and shit, and I'm dying on my ass. Everybody's like, what the fuck's happening? The guy's getting even more angrier, and I'm roasting him. You look like a character from GTA or shit like that. Grand Theft Auto. He was dressed like that though, in all fairness. Man, if he hears that, he's gonna kick my ass. God damn it, don't kill me, man. God damn. I'm just a comedian, man. I'm just a poor boy telling jokes over here, man. Don't kick my ass, goddamn. And I'm dying on my ass. I'm sweating profusely. And after I finished with them, I was like, I know what I'm gonna do. Let's go to this other couple that they're looking at me really aggressively by this point because I'm insulting, the people. And I go to this other couple on the first row, and I was like, oh, that's a very was it hipster pretentious shirt or something. I said to the girl, to the guy, I don't even remember now. And I was like, sorry, blah, blah. And the girl, she looked really feisty. She was like, giving me some faces and shit. And I doubled down. I'm such an idiot, mate, especially when I was starting out. Now I kind of know how to navigate this shit. I know how to navigate the madness in my head. Let's just put it that way. And I was asking her, like, so who wears the pants in the relationship? That is the dumbest thing to ask a couple on the first row. And I just extended my fist because I wanted to see. No, in all fairness, though, the guy looked pretty, like, in Bulgaria we say under the, well, not under the flip flop, but under the boot. You know what I mean? I think it's the same expression in the UK. I mean, a husband that is kind of in the corner and the woman runs everything. By the way, I see a lot of that here in this country, because like a lot of men, they just completely surrender to their spouses and stuff, which is, well, you shouldn't. Like, you should be 50-50, even though I'm not going to talk about dating now. I trash women way too much on this podcast as it is. But, hey, what can I do, man? Come on, give me a break. I'm short, I'm ugly, I'm broke, you know what I mean? I don't do comedy anymore because of this fucking quarantine, so I need to have some outlet, man. You know what I mean? I should be allowed to say some shit about some other people. You know what I mean? My life fucking sucks, man. Right? I mean, at this point, otherwise I love my life, but now it's shit. I'm at home all the time, and yeah, and the guy, he looked pretty. You know what I mean? Like under the boot, like whipped and stuff. Yeah, I think that's the expression. And I just extended my fist, and I was expecting the guy to bump the fist so I can say and just make a joke out of it, like you savage or something like that. And they both extended their fists, which was honestly, it was so lame. And they look like such hipsters, like one of those fucking the annoying types. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure that there are some good hipsters, but they were like so pretentious. And the girl, she looked really, just her face was so annoying. You know what I mean? The know-it-all. You know, that type of I wear glasses. I'm 24. My name's Emma, and I study history of art or whatever. That type of, like, fuck out of here. You know what I mean? That type of shit. And they both at the same time, and I was like, that's so fucking lame. Honestly, man, it's so lame. And I'm continuing, and I'm dying on my ass, and I don't know why I keep saying I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about this. And one of the the comedians they're just like giggling, because that's the funniest thing when you see other comedian just dying on their ass and just panicking and just and me mate, he's at the back, he's showing me the little, wrap it up sign, and I'm like, no, I'm doing 10 minutes. I'm doing 10 minutes. This is my time. This and I'm screaming and shit. I'm losing it, and I'm roasting everybody. Only 2 women, they were really drunk. They laughed at everything the whole night. They're the only one laughing. They had no idea what the fuck was happening. And I'm looking at my watch, and I did my final bit, whatever. Didn't get a single laugh. And I was like, well, guys, we did it. And I'm walking over to take the mic. I don't use the microphone. I just put it to the side always with the stand in pubs because it's a small venue. I'm taking the mic stand. I'm just walking. I'm like, well, we did it, guys. We got through this together. Yeah. Well, thank you, guys. My name is Mike Yannick, and I hope that you enjoyed the show. See you next time. And I'm just leaving. And so there is this little curtain that separates, the 2 rooms, but you can hear everything. And they're just like, well, just like the little here and there claps. And I just go through the curtain, and I was like, I fucking bombed, bro. I died on my ass. What the fuck? And they all laughing, the comedians, because everybody can hear me. You know what I mean? Oh, God. It was so embarrassing. And after I left, before I left, all the comedians just looked at me like, eh. And the thing is, there were, I think, 1 or 2 comedians who've never seen me before. That was the first time. So when they saw me, that's the bad thing, though, when you do comedy, when you've never seen somebody, because this was, like, by that point, the worst gig I've ever done, like, ever. It's not even close. So when this is, like, the first introduction, and when you see somebody die so bad, you think, oh, this guy's shit. And the thing is, because, everybody recommends everybody, and everybody's talking and stuff. And So when they ask, "Oh, what do you think about Mike Yannick?" They were like, "Oh my God, dude, this guy is so bad. I saw him, blah blah blah." You know what I mean? Which is bad because I've seen comedians like maybe gigged with them 2 or 3 times and they didn't do well 2 or 3 times. But I know from other people that they're really good. Maybe it's just a bad night or doing some new material. So you cannot really tell. You know what I mean? As long unless you've gigged many times, because I have people that I've gigged so many times with, you know what I mean, almost every fourth or fifth gig is with them. And when I was leaving, bro, because it was kind of late, and the venue is not that far away, it's with the bus but it's not that far, and all the buses were like finished or something, and it was like weird weather because it was like hot and cold or whatever the fuck, and I'm sweating and I'm going home, I'm profusely sweating, mate, and I have all these clothes or stuff on me. Let me just see what date it was it in August? Yeah, it was in August, so it was hot and stuff. And I think it was raining. I was like, you know, that one is really hot and like very moist and rains. Oh my God! And I'm sweating and I'm going home and I'm just talking to myself, you motherfuckers. Oh my God! I never want to do comedy again. It's like one of those moments, like all the comedians that you heard, like they've been doing it for a while. Those gigs where they go back and they're like, I never want to do comedy, goddamn. You know what I mean? That type. I had the nervous breakdown, honestly, mate. Fucking hell, it was so bad, and oh my God, I felt it's a horrible feeling, like especially now, because now when you start to do it more, you kind of know how to manage that feeling, and you're better at analyzing the gigs, you know what I mean? Like sometimes, the crowd wasn't good, maybe the material, if you do new material for the first time, don't be hard on yourself, it's not gonna be good anyway, you know what I mean? You kind of know how to deal with that emotion, but at the beginning you have no idea, and it feels it's probably one of the worst feelings I've ever experienced, removing physical, because obviously, breaking something, it's different. I'm talking about non-physical feelings. It's probably one of the worst, like even me getting like dumped, or going through a breakup, or finding out that a girl ghosting you or stuff like that. It's a really bad feeling. Maybe finding out that somebody has passed away. It's a really bad feeling, and just dying on your ass. It's not as bad as finding that somebody's passed away. Like that is the worst feeling on the planet. But I think maybe like a bit worse than getting dumped for me. You know what I mean? It was bad, man. But the thing is, it doesn't last as long, because like breakup, sometimes the feeling lasts weeks, even a month or two. This literally lasts until your next gig, or maybe like few hours the next day. I try to do, like, yeah, until 10 or 11. There's a rule in comedy. Until 10 and 11 the next day, you don't think about it. Good or bad gig, that's it. You just move on. And I was like, and the thing is, when you go through that, all the things that you hate about you and all the bad feelings that you have and everything negative just goes to the surface. You know what I mean? Which is fucking bizarre. I don't know why, but every single thing, like, because I have stuff that I don't like about me and about my history, about my life, everything, and you are so fucking hard on yourself. It's insane. You know what I mean? And what I can advise anybody who is like not only stand up, but if you go through stuff where you find some difficult and challenging times, and you go through some stages where you're really tough on yourself, never go to drugs. Never look for escapism. Like, no drugs, no random hookups, you know what I mean? Because just to forget, no, that are negative for you, you know what I mean? Like getting back with your ex, no fucking alcohol, no nothing, you know what I mean? Just fucking sit in there and just feel like shit, and you will eventually learn how to deal with that pain, and you become good. Because this is how all the great artists or comedians, whatever, get into big trouble. They go into some rough times, and they're like, oh, alcohol, drugs, whatever the fuck, and then you go into some bad shit. Nah, fuck that, mate. I never do that. And I was so gutted. But the next day, I had probably by my best gig, so far. It was in hot water. I did really good, and I actually have the clip online. And this was the first time that I felt that because there's a ladder to this thing, like different levels, and there's levels of, the industry, like climbing the ladder, getting gigs, getting recognition, getting paid spots, getting connections, and people recommending you. But there's a different ladder, which is the personal ladder of development, of developing of material, self-confidence, stage presence. And this was the first time that I felt that I actually climbed the level the first time. after that gig, even my coach, because he hasn't seen me after that gig, so he hasn't seen me in like 9 months or whatever. And he was asking me, what happened? And I said to him, and I've been doing it seriously now. And he said, you genuinely, like, the first thing he said, you jumped, you took a leap, like, genuine. And I was so, it meant the fucking world to me, honestly, because I really respect him. And one time, he said, before he brought me on stage, this was actually a few gigs before this thing finishes, maybe like a few weeks before the quarantine started. He's one of my favorite up and coming comedians, and oh my, and the gig went tremendous. But like, him saying that, because I look up to him, and he's my coach and stuff, it meant the fucking world. And the gig went really well. So you need to have that fucking shit time, and you need to have that obstacle in order to overcome it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is how it works at life, and it's so fucking interesting, man. Just doing stand-up, it teaches you so much about life and about yourself. And that's why I've always said, like, man, if you're 18 and 19, I have no idea how you do stand-up, because I wouldn't be able to cope, because there's so much emotion, adrenaline, so much stuff happening in your life all of a sudden. Like, this changes your life completely. Like, before that, you just have a just normal life and hobbies, friends, 9 to 5, whatever. And now all of a sudden you're in the public eye. You're like, I get friend requests and I get messages on Instagram like, dude, I saw you comedy and I saw you there, but when are you coming to my venue? And I'm like, what the fuck, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden you have like 150 people clapping after you get off stage, and everybody's like, come over, taking pictures, man. I took like probably, I don't know, 15 or 20 pictures with different people since I started doing comedy. I've never taken a single picture with a stranger before that in my life. And now people come over and we take pictures, man. I did a gig in Hot Water, and like this couple, right after the gig, a girl from, I think, Indonesia, and the guy was from Slovenia. I remember them because I was like, oh, that's an interesting, you know what I mean? Because I remember him, he is from my part of the world, and I had some mates from that part of the world, Malaysia, Hong Kong, that part of the world. And I was like, oh, did you like the gig? And we're just talking for a bit. Can we take a picture? And I was like, oh, yeah. I mean, I was like, what the? And I was thinking to myself, oh, wait, what the fuck? You want to take a picture with me? What the hell? You know what I mean? And they probably think, because we're here on a visit, they probably think, oh, this is like a famous comedian or something in the UK. I'm a fucking open micer, mate. You know what I mean? And it completely changes your life. So you need to know how to navigate those stuff. But eventually you learn, Let me fucking see, because I'm almost running out of time here. Let me see. I'm not going to be able to do all the stuff, obviously. Okay, I'm doing the last one. I want to do 15, and then that's it. I'm gonna do maybe a few parts, yeah. So I'm gonna do maybe once every 2 months. So you know what I mean? Now it's part 1 up to whatever, and maybe in a month or two I'll do part 2, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's good, man, it's good. We have plenty of content for you good people. By the way, this podcast is getting very good, like, tracking now. I'm very happy with the stuff and very happy with the progress. So I'll keep you people entertained. I have to do this fucking thing on Instagram. I always forget, like, people to give questions and suggestions and topics for me to talk and answer, and just a bit more interactive. But don't worry, everything is going to happen. Everything is calculated. Now, the next gig was Binary Bar. So this is the gig that I actually couldn't make in March. And there's a podcast called the Giggle Gang Podcast. Episode 104 is my episode. I was a guest, called Communist Bananas. And go and listen to it. It's so much fun. So the organizer, he's a very good friend of mine. I love him so much. So I did his gig. We didn't really know each other. This is the first time we met, when I first did his gig. But then I did his podcast. Then I did his gig. Very, very fun times. And I was supposed to do, because he's leaving in June back home, which is sad for me, and I was supposed to do his podcast again and do his gig again, but I wouldn't be able to. So shot. Okay, so the Binary Bar. Now, by the way, the owner, I really like the owner. He's a very nice guy. His name is Mike as well. I think the staff, they all really like me there. I've liked them, but it's a tough gig, mate. And because it's a bar and it's a bit out of town in Manchester, and so when I did it, it was full, but there was a lot of comedians who brought their friends, and I was still green, man. I was like 2 months, 3 months in or whatever, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't do well. I really died on my ass, but it was good. But I did enjoy it. I saw a lot of comedians. I met some new people. I talked to the owner. I get a few glasses of water and stuff, and I went home. The thing is, when you die, some gigs, they hit you really hard. Other gigs don't hit you really hard, and I've kind of noticed that if I had fun before, like, like the travel there, the people that you meet, because I like to go a bit early. I don't like to go 10 minutes before I go on stage. I like to be there half 7 or even 7 sometimes. I just want to hang out with the comedians a bit because they're my mates. So for me, it's fun. You know what I mean? To hang out with them. I'm always nervous before I go on stage, always. But but I enjoy just to break the ice and talk shit with the comedians. Comedians are awesome, mate. I love them. And if I enjoy myself before, if I enjoy even myself on stage, sometimes it doesn't go well, but it's still funny. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna say something stupid, or at least 2 people in the audience gonna laugh hysterically and nobody else going to, and that's funny to me. You know what I mean? I had many cases like that when I'm dying, but just maybe 40 people, 38 people don't laugh at the single thing, but 2 people for some reason find it ridiculously funny and they are all laughing and you can hear them, it's only them, and you can look at them, and even though you're dying inside, I'm laughing because this is so fucking ridiculous what I'm doing right now. And you kind of pander and you just or like, well, this is gonna be a private gig then to YouTube. You know what I mean? Because nobody else is enjoying it, and I enjoyed that gig. That's the thing, and I love the owner. He's so much fun. I just had fun. You know what I mean? I died, but it wasn't. I didn't took it as hard. While the Milo's Lounge, even though I was with some comedians that I really loved, I don't know. I died on my ass, and I didn't. It was bad, man, and it didn't came off good, so I didn't do well there. The other one. Okay, so Handyman Pub. Oh, this is. Oh, I love this. So the owner is great. The owner. This was by accident, by the way. So I was there. It was. Hold on. 26th of September. So my bombs here, my dying, they're pretty well distributed. To be honest with you, they're every few weeks or whatever. You know what I mean? It's not like a cluster. So I went there by accident because one of my very good mates that I haven't seen in a while from Manchester was doing it, and it's literally like 15 minutes, 20 minutes from my house. Well, it's very close. It's in my neighborhood. You know, I don't want to give out where I'm living. I don't want the paparazzi to stalk me. But I was like, I talked with him and I was like, you know what, I haven't seen you. You're a great guy. I love you so much. Let's go and have drinks in the pub nearby, maybe like an hour and a half before that. We'll catch up and I'll come and watch. I wasn't booked, you know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, man, okay, let's do it. I saw him. Oh, so much fun, man. He's great. And we talk and this and that and this and that. Anyway, because with the comedians, you can, like, we're all super busy and all my mates, with the exception with a few, they're my age. You know what I mean? And they all have, some of them have kids. Some of them have, they all have wives and girlfriends. Some of them have boyfriends. Some of them, like fucking mortgages, all of them. We all have jobs. So it's super busy. We don't have the time. Oh, let's just hang out. So when I see them, I only mostly see them on comedy gigs. There's a few from Liverpool that were very close and we hang out outside of the comedy, but most of them just see them at the clubs and venues. So we go there, and this was, I think I've done that gig before. Yeah, I've done it one time before. It went very well, and the owner, he really likes me. And actually, I was supposed to headline the gig in June, which was going to be my first, proper paid headlining spot. And I was going to be booked from half an hour to 45 minutes. Well, he said from 20 to 45, but you know me, man. Like, the more I do, the better for me. Like, I want to learn how to do long sets. So I was going to do maybe 40 minutes, half an hour or 35 minutes of material that I have, and maybe like 5 minutes of improv. So I go there, and it's a tough room. That's the thing, though. It's a tough room because it's in an old brewery and it's a really big ceiling. It's a warehouse, pretty much. At the back is like a stage, very nice stage. It's very nice, by the way. Where is the actual gig? They have the tables, they have the microphones, because they do music stuff there, But the other side is a bar, it's a pub, and it's super loud, so you need to literally scream, you know what I mean? And this is one of the few places where I actually use the microphone. I only use the microphone at professional clubs because I don't have a choice. It's just too big. And at venues like this where it's too big. When I'm doing small pubs, I do not use the microphone. It just gets in the way and I'm really loud as it is. And I trip on the cable all the time. So we go there and they have the running order. And I was like, yeah, mate, how you doing? I'm just here to watch, don't worry. So they got the first guy on stage. he does a bit of MC work. They had the first guy on stage. They had the second guy on stage. Then we have a break. Now we have the next guy, which is the sweet spot. He is relatively new. We know who he is. I've seen him, I think. And he was like, okay, the MC goes on stage and he says to the guy, I'll just pop to the loo, mate, and then I'll get a drink and I'm coming in a few minutes. He was like, okay, I'm doing 5 minutes. Be ready. Okay. So he does the 5 minutes and he was like, okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for your next act? And everybody's like, whoa, okay, welcome to the stage, so and so. And everybody starts clapping and there's fucking nobody coming. You know what I mean? And he's like, what? And they're like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to da 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 da. Nobody is like, what? And he's just standing there, and everybody's like, what the fuck? And the guy just run out. He just bailed. I don't know. He was nervous or something. He just run out at the last second, and I was like, what the fuck? And then they bring somebody else because they need to fill up the space. And when the other act was on stage, he came in here because they're one guy short. He was like, can you do please? You know what I mean? Because blah blah blah. And then I was like, yeah, okay. And I got on stage, and it wasn't. I did my stuff. It wasn't that good because the crowd was kind of weird, and this whole thing kind of fucking threw off the vibe, I think. And I kind of did my stuff, and but it was weird, and there was a lot of young people, like students and stuff, and they were like surprisingly low energy. I don't Liverpool, whoa! They were like, but there were two guys I remember because one of my other mates was there as well to perform, and he brings some of his friends. They were his table. They were all like his mates from work, and they were laughing so much. And even though I died, they really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. You know what I mean? And after that, I talked to them. They were like two brothers, but they were so like lads, that type of stuff. You know what I mean? They were so funny, dude. So funny. And I would just talk shit with them, and we banter back and forth. And I'm just doing like, and this is after the gig finished, and I'm doing like a mini show for them because they're all around me and I'm just talking shit and I'm just improvising. Everybody's laughing. We're all hugging and you know what I mean? We're taking pictures and all that stuff. And it was just so much fun. And even if we died, my friend felt bad because he didn't do that well. According to him, I think he did well, but the crowd was just really tough. And we stayed in the car for a little bit and he dropped me off. But we spoke. It was very nice. But I did enjoy it at the end because I I was not ready. I didn't even have my stopwatch. I wasn't ready. Wasn't making an excuse, but it is what it is. But it was so much fun with the two guys. We just talking shit. And the thing is, like, yeah, at the end of the day, just enjoy yourself. Even if something doesn't go your way. If you have fun and if you can learn a few things, it's because all these gigs that 15 so far in total, they've taught me maybe more than 20 or 30 gigs that went well. I mean, if a gig goes well, you learn a lot of stuff as well. You learn how to keep the interest going. You learn because it's like walking what's it called? A tightrope or whatever. You know what I mean? So you kind of learn how to do that as well. So yeah, just make every downfall that you have as long as you know how to learn something from it and try to enjoy it as much as possible and you'll be fine. That's it, mate. I need to go because fucking hell, I can never do 1 hour. That's the thing. Everybody says 1 hour is the standard for podcast. If it doesn't have a guest, everybody does an hour. Even if you have a guest, except Joe Rogan, he does like 3 hours. Fucking hell, I just have too much shit to say. My brain works too crazy, man. Just fucking blah, 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 non-stop talking. Anyway, so I'm gonna do maybe 3 or 4 parts of this, my worst gigs ever, but I'm gonna do them, space them out once every 3 months. You know what I mean? So maybe for the whole year, I'll do the full list. I don't wanna do this like in a row, episode 1, 2, part 1, 2, 3. Anyway, mate, have a fucking smashing week, okay? Go out there, hustle, bustle, whatever the fuck, drink your vitamins, do some exercises, you know what I mean? Stay positive, and thank you so much for listening, man. This podcast is picking up steam, and I'm really enjoying this, and I'll speak to you next week, mate, and now enjoy the outro song of the Mike Yannick Show. This was the Mike Yannick Show. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I had so much fun recording. See you next week. Bye.